show up in chat.
Maybe if you had a really nice...
Okay. Now I just gotta check it. Refresh. Hate Rumble. There we go. There we go. Hell yeah. There we go. All right. According to the technology at hand, I am live on Rumble. How's everyone's Sunday morning going? Well, some of you it's Sunday afternoon. For some of you it might be Monday or going on Monday if you live over in the Japanese sphere and you're one of my Japanese fans. So there you go. Yes, I have Japanese fans now. It's only a matter of time before I take over that island. Roll up onto Akka-chan and take her the same way Helen of Troy was taken. And we'll see if Japan launches a navy to get her back. Probably not. Sometimes I watch Instagram reels and the what do you call it? The Japanese men come off as very cold-hearted towards their women. Well, what's up? How's Texas doing, Nick Nations? Come off very cold-hearted. They took one woman. Leave it alone. There's no reason to go. It's just a ninja woman lost. Nobody cares. There you go. Anyway, we got a full show today. Full show. I'm going to be watching a D6 Wounds video, so shout out to him. Link to the video in the description below. I'd rather just have him start explaining this entire mess of the update for Warhammer the Old World to me, because it's easier if I just watch it on his videos, and then that way I don't have to read anything. I mentioned I hate letters. There's too damn many of them. My punch-drunk ass can't deal. We're going to be talking Aliens Genocide Part 3. And we're going to be painting some Savage Orcs. I said to myself I was going to get 6 of these guys done. It just didn't happen. But it will. It will happen, so we'll get to that. And it is hot as hell down here. I might have to go turn on the AC, but I think maybe it's best this way. I work better when I got a little bit of pressure, when it's a little bit of when there's a little bit of discomfort. I feel that I work better. I was pumping a little iron. I always like to do about 50 push-ups, 50 sit-ups before I come in here, so I'm actually woke up. You know, I mean, I get up out of bed at about 6:45, come down here with my second or third cup of coffee. Usually I fill up the Contigo now, and I just get that shit front-loaded into me, and that's what I've been doing every single morning. Worth taking, post errata. There's all kinds of, what do you call it, videos coming out where people stake their living on, D6 Wounds doesn't, but people stake their living on making content for the old world. Little bit of housekeeping. Before we get too far into this, I am well aware of, what do you call it here? Let me go into my history. Is it KJM? I am well aware of this channel. I've been getting messages.
I upload a Warhammer 40k video.
Okay. The best thing, and I'm not going to even talk about it. It's not worth talking about. This is clearly an owned channel. End of story. Somebody's producing this content to cater to the Simps in the 40k universe. Pay it the indifference it deserves, and it's never going to go away because, you know, oh, woman like Warhammer, I send you donation, you touch peen now. You know, so I think 2 different fans want me to do content on this. I'm going to say it's not worth it. Not worth it at all. I mean, this woman's got so much fucking bass on her face, she's probably older than I am, and I'm fucking old. There you go. Even older than I am. Fake it. So, you know, like half of the fucking internet out there, it's fake and gay. Pay it the indifference it deserves, gentlemen. Don't even go there. Okay? Pay it the indifference it deserves. You know, I mean, there's really no point. Okay, what else have we got here? Oh, shit. Well, I didn't even share the channel. Ugh, God. See, now I'm punch drunk. I better open this here. We'll go back one page. God damn it. I have to display capture.
Time I upload.
All right. Pausing this bullshit. Let me display capture. So, yeah. Sorry. That was my bad. We'll get rid of a real woman like Aka-chan. And okay, so yeah, a few fans of mine messaged me about this, and like I said, I send donation. You touch P now, woman like Warhammer. This is a simp channel. This is what do you call it? This is what you call Google generated content. I guarantee this person's on the payroll of some stupid subsidiary channel to basically bring in, you guessed it, more ad revenue in the Google sphere. So pay it the utter indifference it deserves. It's not even worth watching, gentlemen. I'm not even going to do a show on it. I'm so done with any kind of female in the hobby. And that's just me. I don't, let the circle be unbroken. Amen. This is a brotherhood. Mostly, but we got an actual brother. This is D6 Wounds, and he's gonna be rapping to us about let's get into this. The end of Linehammer and the Press of Battle special rule. I have to open up this tab now. Get that up. We'll transfer this over here yonder. I'll restart this video. I'll put in my earphones because I haven't even had time to listen to this video. Oh, last of the housekeeping. I did put out a battle report for 8th edition. I had lost some of the pictures, and I guess my notes weren't as good as I thought they were when I initially wrote them down. So that's my bad. I put it out because I still thought it was a fun fight. Next one is Wood Elves vs. Night Goblins. That's going to be coming out on Rumble tonight after the show. I've got that one half edited, and then middle of the week, Wednesday. If you want the battle reports early, go to Rumble. Please go to Rumble because that's where the real gamers go. Rumble, home of the real gamers, home of the real streamers, in my opinion. Everybody who gets banned by PrudeTube. So we're going to watch this video, and I'm going to learn about Press of Battle, and then we can talk about it. So I want your comments. I want your comments coming in to explain it to me because I'm too fucking lazy to read. Not to mention, I've got to print out an FAQ that's I think it's 18 pages long. I got to print out a rather sizable FAQ. And I want to thank Cornite Care Bear for sending me the links to the FAQ and various links to local tournaments. I have to check out the one in Farmington. I've been kind of bad. Very, 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 very bad. I'm just like, somebody sends me something and I'm like, but I'm so tired. Then my sister's all like, you have to go to the rodeo for your dad's birthday. But I'm so tired. I literally have to get up on Boxing Day next week, no less, and go to a rodeo. Let me double check that. Let me double check that. Yeah. I get too many critical hits during kickboxing. Them weird squiggles are haunting me. There's too many letters. That's right. I gotta check the calendar real quick. Everything just fuck this year. It went by too. You get to a certain point in your life and you wake up. You're drinking time like forever. So what I need to do is I need to become a vampire, like in Bram Stoker's Fable, where I feast on young people and become younger through that. That's the whole story right there. There was no love story between Mina and Dracula. He was going to kill her in the book. There was no love story. That was put in by the 1993 movie. Oh, God. So Tuesday is the 1st. Oh, Monday. Okay. So I have to go Wednesday, which sucks. And then Friday is the 4th of July. So the boxing gym will be closed. I'll get a day off. So my head won't be as rattled. All right. So yeah, there will be another battle report coming out tonight on Rumble. I want you guys to watch it. Please watch it. This one's way better, way more polished. you know, it's kind of weird. You know, it's like I couldn't ever call a game of basketball or call shot for shot on boxing or kickboxing, but you know, when I was trying to commentate on this first battle report, I kept like having to restart, go over my notes again, and my notes weren't even that complicated. It's just when you have notes but you don't have the pictures for those notes, it really fucks with you hard. And so it took me like an hour and a half just to get through the 13 minutes of actual game photograph and commentary, because I noticed like, oh shit, I don't have that picture. I thought I snapped it, you know, click, doesn't click. So there's that. Let's get into this. This is D6 Wounds. If you want some good commentary on rules and stuff, he does make a good rules video. Love this guy. A while back, he reached out to me and said, you're missing, in the comments, and said, you're missing out on good fantasy content. And he does a good 8th edition battle report. He also does good old world battle reports. He hangs out with, what's his name? That's not important. The name will come to me later. Let's get into this and keep things moving, and we could talk about old world. So leave your comments below so that I can process this information, as I have to go to my sister's today to print out this information.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So the last 24 hours has been absolute madness as everybody tries to digest the brand new FAQ for Warhammer the Old World. Version 1.5 they're calling it, and wow, loads of erratas, loads of massive changes to the core rules. I mean, you may as well throw your old rulebook in the bin. It's been changed so much. They're going to need a new rulebook, or at least you've got to update your magic cards with the new casting values, and it's quite complicated, I think. I think now the game is even harder for new players to access, because you can't just pick up the rulebook, read it and play. Or if you do so, you'll be playing a different game to people who sort of know the game and keep up to date with the FAQs. The FAQ document is massive now. So much has changed that perhaps we could do with some more tutorials and explanations with diagrams about how things work. So in this video, I'm going to focus on close combat. If you like my videos, guys, and you're not subscribed, please subscribe and help get the word out. And hopefully we can use these videos, send them to new players so they can understand what's going on, and make it more accessible for people, because I do think it's quite complex now, especially the close combat, which can get quite fiddly. But hopefully this video will help explain some of the complexities. Okay, so in our diagram here, we've got a big horde of orcs, 30 orcs charging into our 10 dwarf iron breakers. Now here come the orcs. They're charging in. Now the first FAQ that I want to look at is this concept of the fighting rank. Now the actual definition of the fighting rank hasn't changed, but they've added in this line which previously said any model that is in the fighting rank can fight, and now it says any model that is within the fighting rank and within a number of inches equal to its movement of the enemy unit can fight, which is a kind of very clunky way of saying you've got to be within your movement value to the enemy in order to fight. So being in the fighting rank doesn't automatically mean you can fight anymore, and we'll come back to that a little bit later. Okay, so our orcs have charged in, and our fighting rank is, as usual, the rank that's in base to base, which is in yellow in the diagram there. There's also going to be some orcs that are in base to base contact, and then we can make a distinction then between the orcs that are in the fighting rank and in base to base, and the orcs that are in the fighting rank and not in base to base. So if those orcs were frenzied, for example, and they had 2 attacks each, or they had 2 hand weapons or something like that, then the orcs in red would get all of their attacks, and the orcs in yellow would only get 1 attack. Okay, so we've essentially got 3 categories of combatant, right? We've got our fighting rank base to base, got our fighting rank not base to base, and then we've got those that cannot fight. Okay, so let's say the orcs win the first round of combat, the dwarfs give ground, the orcs follow up, and then we're in the second round of combat. Now, these orcs, let's say they've got hand weapon and shield, but they've also got spears, right? Now, in the current FAQ, you can now change weapons on each round of combat. So they might want to charge in and use their hand weapon and shield in the first round of combat because they can't use their spears when they're charging, and therefore they'll be able to get that parry save for that extra +1 to their armor save as they're charging in. But now on the second round of combat, as nobody has charged, they now want to switch to spears. Now, obviously, I know there should be some casualties taken off there, but I want to keep it simple for now. So let's assume there's been no casualties and the Orcs have just won by dint of having an extra rank or whatever it is. And now we move on to the second round of combat. So because they've got spears, they can now use supporting attacks, but they've also got access to this new press of battle special rule. So in the heat of battle, orderly ranks become a swirling melee, except during a turn in which it charged. A fighting rank of a unit that has this rule and is arrayed in combat order is not 1 but 2 ranks deep. In other words, models that are directly behind and in base contact with models in the unit's actual fighting rank are also considered to be within its fighting rank. Now, I think it's quite complicated to introduce a new term called the actual fighting rank, but essentially they've got the fighting extra rank special rule. So the fighting rank is now 2 ranks instead of 1, and therefore we can shade that in yellow on the diagram there. So we've now got 20 Orcs that are in the fighting ranks, and we've also got another 10 behind it that are eligible for a supporting attack. Now, just to be clear, the definition of supporting attack has also changed. So it's no longer just being directly behind someone in the fighting rank. It's being directly behind someone in the fighting rank and being within your movement value to the enemy unit. So the same thing applies. You might be eligible for a supporting attack, but not be able to make that supporting attack because you're not within your movement value. In this case, 4 inches for the Orcs. Okay, so we might, in this diagram, we can see, let's say we measure 4 inches from the corners, and we can see actually they're all within 4 inches, and therefore all 30 Orcs can fight on the second round of combat because they've got spears, they've got this press of battle rule, and now all 30 Orcs can fight. Quite handy, eh? Maybe.
Oh, that is going to be quite handy for Black Orcs. The second rank of Black Orcs with hand weapons being able to fight. Am I correct in hearing that? Just second rank with the press of battle special rule. That will be very handy with a bunch of Black Orcs in there. Especially if they have, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities with that one. I like that. That'll make infantry viable, which will completely change the game. But I'm going to digress here and say the way that it worked in 8th edition was just way better. See this? These guys could fight, and these guys could fight. And if they were a horde, these guys right here where my cursor is could fight. It's like they found retards to look at older editions and then write fixes to the rules. Well, everybody within 4 inches. This is not 40K, you morons. Okay? I mean, I'll take it. It's going to give a bump to my first Orc army rendition where it's mostly just Black Orc heavy. It's like I've got a big old unit of Black Orcs in core. I got 2 units of Black Orcs in special. I've got 3 bosses. It's going to give me a good boost because we might be more successful at driving off El Gigante, the monster on the dragon and everything. But, put your comments there. I'll get to comments after this video, but we need to be timely in this one, so let's keep going.
We're going to see more spearmen on the tabletop now in Warhammer the Old World. Okay, let's go to a completely different scenario now. Let's say the dwarfs are charging the Orcs. Now, dwarfs don't often get the charge, but as Brother Gimli would say, they're quite quick over short distances. So let's say the dwarves get a charge on the left-hand side here, but they didn't roll that spectacularly on the dice, and so they don't get to a line in such a way which maximizes base-to-base contact, and they just sort of clip on the corner there, they close the door, and they're now in base-to-base contact with 3 of the Orcs. Now, the Orcs didn't charge this turn, so they can use their press of battle rule. They've got 20 Orcs in the 2 fighting ranks. They've also got 3 Orcs that are in base-to-base, so if they had 2 hand weapons, they can't use Frenzy because they haven't charged this turn, according to the new FAQ. But if there was a character there, or if they had 2 attacks for another reason, they could make all of their attacks because they're in base-to-base. The ones in yellow can only make 1 attack. And there's 10 Orcs on the back rank that are eligible for a supporting attack. But not all of these Orcs in the fighting ranks and the supporting rank can make an attack, because they're not all within their movement value of the dwarf unit. So now we need to start making some measurements. So we'll measure from the front rank, and we can see there's about 3 orcs there that aren't within movement value, so they can't attack. We can measure from the second rank, and we can see actually there's about 4 orcs in the second rank that are out of their movement value and therefore can't attack. And then we'll measure it again from the final rank, and we see it's something quite similar. So there's a good chunk of the unit there, because of the way the dwarves are positioned in that combat, that can't fight. Now, this means we've now got 4 different categories of combatant, right? We've got our fighting rank base to base, we've got our fighting rank not base to base, we've got our supporting attacks, and we've got those that cannot fight. Now, this is already quite fiddly, right? Because as you can see, if not all of the unit is within their movement value to the enemy unit, then you're going to have to start making several measurements, perhaps for each rank of the unit, to see how many people.
So somebody put in the comments, can the yellow make their full arraignment of attacks, or is it just one supporting attack? I mean, that would make Black Orcs really nasty, because then I could have great weapons firing off in the back rank while I've got sword and board up front. That's going to be freaking awesome with Motley Crew, by the way. I mean, freaking awesome. So, and it says purple are supporting attacks, and then green cannot fight. I mean, I like how he color-coded it, made it easy for me. God bless you, D6 Wounds. I'm so broken and old. I'm going to have to get a Kongo Shiga Hitsiodes. I'm going to need a nurse pretty soon, as the Japanese would say. I'd be like, Himananji desu ka? Otamiru ga hoshii desu. I need my mush.
People can fight. But it gets even more complicated than that. Because remember, in this example, the dwarves have charged. So it's quite likely that the dwarves are going to attack before the orcs. They're going to kill some of their orcs, and that might reduce the number of attacks that the orcs get in return. Now, how does that work exactly? Well, this is a bit difficult to calculate, because according to the rulebook, now this is obviously the rulebook before the FAQ, it does say that slain models are considered to have been removed from the ends of the fighting rank. And it also says in italics at the bottom there, models that remain in the fighting rank after casualties have been removed are more likely to be in base contact with the enemy, having closed in upon them. In other words, you've removed the models from the fighting rank that are not in base to base before you remove the models that are in the fighting rank and in base to base. So the yellow guys die before the red guys, and so you calculate the number of attacks that you have from your fighting ranks and your supporting attacks, and then you start deducting attacks based on how many casualties you have before you figure out how many attacks you have back, taking off those yellow ones before you take off those red ones to maximize the amount that are in base to base.
Okay. Again, rules written by retards who just won't look at 8th edition or something like that. Okay, so I'm to understand slain models are considered to have been removed from the ends of the fighting rank. So we're going to start over here in yellow, I guess, and work our way this way. Hopefully this is correct. Okay, this represents the members of the rear ranks stepping forward to fill in the gaps whilst remaining in the fighting rank close in upon the enemy. Close in upon the enemy. Okay. Note. Been removed are likely to be in base contact, having closed in upon them. Okay, this is just the way they worded it, like I said, written by retards. Retards. Like, you British people overthink everything. You know, you spell your stupid color with a U, armor with a U. Haven't you ever played Doom? Armor is spelled A-M-O-R. Armor. And you pick that shit up and it goes on your body and it's good. Okay, moving on from that. Again, the whole, I disagreed with the entire stepping forward rule from the beginning. I thought that losing your entire front rank, which sucks, and then you can't fight except for the champion and a loose character up front, really does suck, okay? Whereas, like, they had fixed every gripe that I had about 7th, every gripe that I had about 6th, just by saying, okay, these guys are slain, Other warriors move forward to take their place, and now you get the fight. I do, so, and the way they could have just cleaned this up was just like, okay, now if this were 8th edition, it would have just been these 9 models in horde formation. These 9 get the fight. And if you have a character, he can come lurching over here with make way. There you go. What is that, like 2 sentences? All right, you just measure who's in base-to-base contact from here. So it's just keep it in straight lines. And then these guys are out. That would have been easier. But okay, you want to give me more attacks, I'll take more attacks. This works, this whole 4 inches thing, it works, but the way it's worded is retarded. Closed in upon them. God, I might have to watch this 2 or 3 times. Frickin' A.
Okay, but now we've got this FAQ. Which orcs are going to die first? Because we've got orcs that are in the fighting rank but that can't fight. Remember, being in the fighting rank doesn't automatically mean you can fight anymore. So we've actually got a 5th category, haven't we? We've got people who are in the fighting rank but cannot fight, and I've shaded them in grey on the screen there. So when the dwarves charge in and they kill some orcs,
what the hell?
Does that reduce the attacks that the orcs have in return? Well, it might not, because we're taking off casualties from the fighting rank. We might be taking off just those orcs that are shaded in grey. They couldn't attack anyway, so maybe you won't be losing attacks by fighting at a lower initiative step. The dwarves attack first, they kill off some orcs, but the ones that are dying are removed from the fighting rank, but they're people or orcs that were in the fighting rank that couldn't fight anyway. Now, I don't think this is actually covered in the FAQ, and obviously it isn't covered in the rulebook because this rule didn't exist when the rulebook was printed. And so we've got a bit of a grey area. It's introduced another layer of complexity where we've got essentially 5 different types of combatant, right? Fighting rank base to base, fighting rank not base to base, fighting rank but can't fight at all, and then supporting attacks, and then people who can't fight at all because they're not in the fighting rank and they're not eligible to fight at all. So it could also get more complicated, right? Let's say those dwarves kill 5 orcs. Now, there are 7 orcs in the fighting ranks that could die before the orcs start losing attacks. But let's say you remove those 5 orcs from the back rank because you're pulling off models from the back. There are now only 5 orcs left on the back rank because there's 10 now. You remove 5 orcs from the back rank. There's now only 5 orcs on that 3rd rank. Now, these orcs were about to make 6 supporting attacks. So does that now reduce the supporting attacks they make? Or are we reducing these orcs from the fighting ranks and therefore it's not reducing those supporting attacks? It's all getting a bit complicated, isn't it? So I think it's going to have to be this scenario, obviously I've picked a complicated scenario which isn't going to happen in every game of Old World, but it could happen. And so it's going to get a bit complicated if you've got wide units. And there is still an incentive to go wide with your unit because of this very reason, right? You're going to have extra models that can die before you start losing attacks. So you can get charged and you can still have plenty of attacks coming back. So I think this is one to think about. Obviously, the FAQ has only been released very recently, and on the whole, I'm quite positive about the changes that it's made. So I don't want to seem like I'm coming in with just adding in loads more questions and complexities, but it's certainly looking a little bit, this is going to be quite difficult for new players to get their head around. Anyway, let me know what you think, guys. Smash that like button as usual, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Oh my God. All right. All right, I think I can close that tab. Minimize it, go over here to Rumble, see what everybody's saying. Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, I can't do that. I hate this version. I wish I could click your comments and have them come up. So, let's see here. Good afternoon from England. Hope you're all doing well. Thank you, Luke. Me no understand. What's up, Fox? If she were the last person at the bar, yes, I still want something younger. My preference is for younger. Yeah, just with that one, hit it and quit it, because, you know, the wax works have gone bad on that one. Oh, shit. Hold on. I mentioned I hate this scale. Oh, that's good. All right. Then I have to paint this brown right here, and then I have to put a line of static grass just right there in the center on that strip. Ugly. Freaking ugly. Oh, well. There we go. All right. Let's get myself collected here for a minute. I needed something to work on. Okay. Probably one step away from having... Yeah, Dr. Baxel. Okay. Yeah, there we go. What's up, Justin? Nice to see you. She has to wait until the stream is over. Yeah, she might be out with Tyquavius right now. I guarantee she doesn't look like a loyal woman. No. Alex, God, it's just more YouTube crap, more goy slop for consumption. I guarantee you couldn't pay that woman an honest day's wage for an honest day's work. If she had to wash cars for a day, she would quit in about 2 hours. Just working at the car wash would be too much for her. Holding a tablet, being out in the sun, coming out from underneath the shade, and holding a tablet would be too much for that person. Would be way too much for that person. Okay, so infantry blocks were good in 8th. They were. Fighting rank not in base to base, only get 1 attack. Thank you. Okay. Yes, yeah, that's exactly. We could simplify the word retard for labor voters as well. And then what's up, historical doppelganger? So I'm just kind of wrapping my head around this, like having gone back and forth. I talked about this. I talk about it in both games. Rules that I like, rules that I don't like. Okay, I'll give you an example of things I don't like in 8th edition. I don't like the thunderous stomps that the monsters put out. It's a little bit overpowering. I think it can be toned down. If you want to house rule it, fine. And that goes for both. I mean, like even like giants or something like that. Maybe the giants have the D6, but you know, I mean, one thing that they did in Old World is that stomps from monsters, like giants, they have the thunderous stomp. That's just like it was in 8th edition. That's a giant thing. The what do you call it? I believe the Necrosphinx has like D3. Hold on, I'll check right now. Actually have a book next to me. I believe it varies from monster to monster. Stomp attacks D3 for the Gorgon. And so I like that. It varies from monster to monster. Character mounts. Command War Sphinx 143. Two, three. So the War Sphinx, Behemoth, Stomp attacks D3, okay, and then the Dragon has D6. There you go. Dragon, of course, being way more. Chimerian War Sphinx making you toughness 6. Adding 5 wounds to the... Oh, it's... War Sphinx is a little different. Okay. I get it now. That's, you know, and it works. I like the combined profile. So there's positives and negatives to both games, but like this FAQ, it just kind of seems like they should have just like line up your squares, see which squares are corner to corner, and then that's what you get for attacks. And nobody dies in the front rank. I've just fixed the entirety of the game right there with a couple of sentences. This isn't rocket science. This is a game. Lining up squares on graph paper. You can line up squares on graph paper and look at this. Real freaking easy. I mean, I could get squares out and show you right now, but I don't think that that's necessary. Okay, so you line up and see which squares are corner to corner. Then you go back 3 ranks deep. That's as many attacks as you get. You get to attack back no matter what. I know it's cool to like wipe out the entire front rank and you can't do anything about it. It just doesn't work when you're trying to create a modern game. They're trying to create a modern game. And it doesn't work. All right, so it'll be interesting when I get when I print out the PDF and sit down and start reading it properly. If anybody has any other videos on this subject that they want to send to me via Instagram, please do so. But we're going to come to the end of this portion now. I'm going to shout out D6 Wounds for the video. Thank you very much. It clarified a lot for my dumbass, and I just want to say if he has other videos like this, let me go into his channel. Going down. The Counter Charge. I haven't watched that. I missed that one. That one came in under my radar. I usually catch every one of these videos that he makes because he's very scientific on the way he does it, you know. He's one of them brain boys. So yeah, he's got a few of these drilled like this, you know, line of sight. I know I didn't miss drilled. I missed line of sight. I'll have to watch that. So he sneaks. This is what a real YouTuber looks like anyway. I mean, I'm just a humble amateur going about my day vlogging. Like I said, it's become more of a vlog over the years anyway for me. So yeah. Shout out to D6 Wounds. Thank you for the video. The link to his channel and this video is in my description, which is also going to hurt me on the YouTube algorithm because you prude tube. Anyway, what else is on the docket today? I believe we have Aliens Genocide. Yep, 90s comics, Aliens Genocide. More. I know I've got to finish one more book. You guys a lot of you may not like this, but I like it. So, let me go up here. I'm going to plead my case. And basically, Aliens Genocide. Read the book this week again while at work. It's an 8-hour video on YouTube. You can find it relatively easy. Let me see if I still have the channel up. Okay, mostly sci-fi is the channel I listen to that on, and he's got my biggest recommendation from him is the 20-minute short story about Robert Morse from Alien 3, and let me see here. I'll just go this route and use visual aids. See here. That's a decent picture. We'll get him up. Back in screen capture. Well, I gotta move myself. Okay, so this guy, Robert Morse, Alien 3, he was the only survivor on Fury 161. Everybody else died. He wrote a story about how a monster came and ate all his mates. And he basically wrote a story that went out there. Nobody took it seriously because of the way that it was written, the harsh language that he used and everything, and how it was all bitched. A lot of profanity in it. I mean, he's writing it from the perspective of an ex-convict. And they do mention it briefly in, what do you call it? Alien Resurrection, during the scene where they were talking about how Weyland-Yutani had been bought up by Walmart, which I thought was pretty funny. And they mentioned Space Beast by Robert Morse. And that's how Call, Winona Ryder's character, learned about the alien, was by reading Space Beast. Like I said, a lot of people didn't read it, but that's one of my... That's one of my favorite short stories, which could have been a good animated one. Yeah, Space Beast by Robert Morse. So there's that. So, rereading the book again, everything, this would have been, quite frankly, one of the best movies ever made if we had gotten Genocide in the 90s. Aliens Genocide. If we had gotten this in the 90s, this would have been good. They talk about like hives and everything like that, and so they actually explain where the red xenomorphs come from. So every now and then there's a genetic offshoot where eggs are laid and they come out red. The face huggers are red for whatever reason, and usually it's the job of the drones and the Praetorian Guard to at least according to Dr. Bengali, who I think we'll meet in this episode. It's the job of the Praetorian Guard and the drones to remove those and destroy them, to keep the line pure. When, during the Earth War, Ripley and a team went to the Xenomorph planet to basically extract the Queen Mother, the alien Empress, the mother of all mothers, bring it back to Earth, because some people, when they encountered the alien, the Queen Mother starts talking to them across the galaxy through psychic channels about how she loves you and everything like that. And there was a weird arc in the book for, what do you call it? For explanation for that, for people who had encountered the alien, the Queen Mother would basically pick humans to serve her. And they basically would be used to kidnap more hosts. And she would get a psychic hold on people. And they brought her to Earth, put her in Seattle, and then nuked Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. And that's how they got rid of most of the aliens. They let her sit there for about 6 months. All the aliens would cross, they crossed oceans, they crossed rivers, they crossed mountains, any kind of land barrier you can think of to get to the Queen Mother, because she would gather them all up. And then there was a significant portion of aliens in that region. The time bomb went off and destroyed a whole bunch of aliens. And this caused so much chaos that another hive of aliens was able to get started, and there were 2 hives. So that's the beginning. That's the setup. Then you have the whole Xenozip thing that's tied into that with Neo Farm, which is owned by Daniel Grant. And if you take too much Xenozip, you go berserk. The berserk mode from taking too much Xenozip is what brings the military into this, because Weyland-Yutani isn't really around anymore. It brings the military into this because they want berserker soldiers. A soldier that will literally just fight until his body falls apart. So they go to the alien homeworld, as you saw in the last one, if you've been keeping up with this. They touch down, they scorch a whole bunch of aliens that are on the ground like this, battling like ants with the thrusters. Then they land, and they're going to come out, and they're going to start the expedition. And that's where I'm going to bring the comic out. All right, so now we're at the middle portion of the movie. So it's got a really good beginning, really good setup, really good story. This guy's got to save his company. And there's a few differences between the comic and the novel. I'm going to say go with the novel. Use the comic for visual aid. we still dealing with the same artists? Okay. Help my dumb ass to go here. Of course, I'm going to burp later here. All right, yeah, not bad. You have to look at this sideways. When I get this new computer, I'm going to have a slightly different setup, so it should be more improved vastly. So as you can see, they're everywhere just fighting. See if there's anything particular. Oh, well, there's a good picture of them getting into their hard suits. Oh, not to mention in the novel, you get way more character development. And because of that character development, you sit there and Daniel Grant starts to bond. You got this billionaire tycoon. He starts to bond with some of these Marines on board and comes to like them as people. Usually a business tycoon type like that doesn't really value people that aren't on his level, at least. So there they are using the thrusters of the Anteater, which is the drop ship. They hover around a little bit. Okay, now, in the book, the way they set this up, so they use these harpoons. They had one guy on O'Connor. He's a member of like the naval force, and he had trained in virtuality to basically fire these harpoons in the right place that launch into the ground, and they set up the perimeter barricades. They noticed that the force fields were quite good for dealing with the xenomorphs or keeping them out for observation missions and everything while scientists and brain boys studied these things and everything. So you see them launch out here. This is just awesome. Pure gold. You got the ones that get caught in the force field actually get chopped in half and fall into bits and everything like that. And they're all looking in. And then, let's see. I just like how this force field bubble right there. Ooh, I got to get rid of these guys. Okay, move all that. So you got your force field bubble. The ones that were outside get forced out. They come out, all guns blazing, and they got to deal with the xenomorphs. And the xenomorphs really like drop what they're doing when fighting amongst themselves to immediately go after the fresh meat. And then Daniel Grant made friends with Hendrickson. We've talked about Hendrickson. He's kind of, they all think, so Jastro and Ellis think that he's Jastro and Ellis are like salt and pepper. They came up together. They're basically like 19-year-olds in the military who joined at the same time. And they had a lot of, like I said, they had bigger, but Hendrickson's the one that everybody's watching because he's like the super soldier. You know, perfect A's across the board. He's a regular one-man army. This was actually mentioned in the book right here with the xenomorph jumping onto the window trying to claw its way through. And they used the net gun. And then they were supposed to capture a red for whatever reason. And then they end up shooting the red. I think that's just awesome. Oh, it looked like it was about to break free from the net. Oh, that's a cool... Okay, this is awesome right here. You're just surrounded. Like, that would suck so bad. And you got... That I like that. That's a nice little touch right there of perspective. Battling xenomorphs. They cleaned out the ship and everything. Now, one thing about the guns. You notice how they have 4 barrels. Those are like... carbines, and they have they're what do you call it, plasma rifles, not pulse rifles for some reason. See what we get here. And then okay, so at the end of the day, this is actually an interesting thing. You got Daniel Grant right here going up to the end of the force field, touching the force field. He's got all the hissing and everything. You can't get in. And They basically come out and they chill. And what's her name? Alex Kozlowski, the colonel in charge, she kind of suggests that they have a picnic. They have a picnic in front of all the xenomorphs. And I like how these suits, they eat their sandwiches in front of the xenomorphs. They even made horseshoes. They mentioned that in the book and everything. And they just kind of chill out because the first part of the mission is getting onto the planet, clearing the landing zone. And then the second part of the 0.5 version of this is basically expanding the force field up to one of the hives so that they can get in without a lot of trouble. Let's see here. So yeah, this is right here. This is just an illustration of Jastro and Ellis right here. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, at some point in the last book and in the book, what's his name? Daniel Grant gets the bottle of Xenozip that's held by Alex Kozlowski, and there's a little bit of foreshadowing there in the next version that we'll see. I forgot about that. That's kind of a little plot note because this is what this whole voyage is about. Getting the royal jelly to make more of this drug, which is equivalent to like drinking four what do you call it? 4 cups of coffee at the same time, all hitting you at once to improve the neurons in your synapses to fire faster, so that you have higher reflex time. You just get better when you're on it, but some people react to it differently, and they go berserker mode. Oh, there's a good picture of the plasma rifle right there. Now this happened in the book where you had he's sitting there playing the saxophone while these xenomorphs fight with one another. Like, so in the book it's kind of described like these they'll take an interest in him because he's walking down there, and then when they when one xenomorph turns his back on a red or a black, they attack each other and tear each other to pieces, and there's just acid going everywhere. Here we got I think that's Dr. Bugali. Okay. So they're about to expand the force field right here. So they're lining up. You can see them in their hard suits and everything. Now, there's a character they did not put into this book, I think. Let me see here. I gotta scout ahead and find her real quick. No. So in the comic, there's only one girl aboard the ship, and that's Alex Kozlowski. There is actually another one. There's Private Edie Mahoney, and she's the weapons specialist for the 30 Marines that are on there. As a matter of fact, you don't quite have 30 Marines. There are 30 Marines on this. So they're going to expand the force field. They shoot another harpoon thing, and they have to drop the force field temporarily. They've got these guns on the ships that are frickin' badass. They just blast holes in everything. And as you can see that this put out some fire. They fire another harpoon right here. We're going right to this. And this is supposed to expand it. And then it actually, like somehow the harpoon skewered a couple of aliens, and then it goes down, and now they're caught out in the open in this deadly situation where they've got to keep these guns blazing. And they do give you an explanation for this. The guns themselves, every Marine is cross-trained on using those guns. So they start blasting. This is Sergeant Argento. He was handpicked. There were 2 sergeants that were handpicked by what do you call it? Kozlowski. 2 sergeants were handpicked by her. Hendrickson was also handpicked. And you see they're surrounded, and then you got a creeper right there. One already. These fucking bastards are so sneaky, and that's what ramps up the tension. Imagine having a picnic in front of xenomorphs 1 minute in a movie, and then, what do you call it? Going like, okay, we got part 2 of the mission now that we've had time to rest and nap a little bit, because combat does draw it out of you, so you need some respite. And then going to this situation. Over here. Now, this is what Grant didn't like. Grant didn't like the fact that Marines that he had come to know during the course of this voyage had started dying for Xenozip, which, for his company, basically. You know, they are here on a mission and everything, but, like, he notices this, and this makes Grant a way cooler character in the book than he is in the comic. But I like how they show that there. And then I think this is Ellis. Ellis gets surrounded, and then he gets taken down and killed. Xenomorph jumps onto Argento there, and it looks like there's almost no hope. And what's going on up here? Oh, okay, so this is cool. This is kind of like where he becomes Ripley for a second, you know? He can't stand it, and they're holding, and they're not trying to launch another harpoon. And he's like, we need to do something for these guys now. We got to get down and help those boys. You know, because, I mean, how many of them have to die? You guys got to do something on this ship and everything. And he actually, in the book, he pushes one aside, and I think he fires the harpoon. Oh, like I said, it's been a minute since I've seen this. Take care of this turd. So it was actually in the book, they have just some unknown private. Another private climbs up there. It's Mahoney. She gets up there and starts manning the gun again and starts firing off salvos into the xenomorphs. God, what a good issue. This one's thick, too. Thick. You got your monies. How much did this cost? Back in the day. Usually you got the costs on your comics. She's of course pissed off at him. Let's see here. They lost 5. I think in the book it was 10. Let's go to the next page. We got to kind of keep this moving. Freaking A, what a good issue. You can get these on eBay for really cheap. They're worth picking up. They're also in all the omnibus books as well. Yeah, and then you got Jastro dragging his friend up. He's dragging his friend up, and he didn't like that. You, of course, got Dr. Bugali looking at everything, thinking it's incredible. And they also set Dr. Bugali up to be some kind of a scumbag as well. You don't, so they already know that there's a traitor on board because they planted a xenomorph to go after Grant before they made touchdown, and he had been saved by that one of the soldiers, and so he didn't get face hugged. So Alex and Grant, they know that there's some kind of saboteur on board. They just don't know who it is. Is it Bugali? And they're kind of setting them up to be that way. Okay, so right here, this is actually a kind of important setup. Right here, he's got a red head and a black head. And he's sitting there saying, well, how do we get rid of the xenomorphs temporarily so we can expand the force field and gain access to the hive? He comes up with, we'll nuke one site. They've got the ship up on top, and they have to wait for the weather conditions to be just right so there's minimal fallout. They have better, like, tactical nukes. So they'll say they'll nuke the red hive, wipe it out, and when all the reds cut and run to go see what happens to their hives, the blacks are most likely to follow the reds in pursuit to cause a rout. You got that key word, sway the line. How can we sway the battle? There we go. Good picture of Hendrix, nuke 'em. And now, okay, so Grant, he's feeling a lot of serious guilt. He wants to go with the Marines into the hive to see if he can help. Normally you don't see this from a billionaire tycoon. And on a moral level, I need to do this. Yeah, that's really good. So he goes to get one of his hard suits, and then there's all this alien glop on there. And that's where they leave you on 3. And it comes out. Does it get him? I don't know. But now you know there's a saboteur on board, and they talk about this thing that was keeping the egg shut. It's got a motion sensor and a timer on it, and it's like they set it there for him. So that's issue 3, and then you got Bug Hunt. I've never actually read this. I'll have to read this to see what this is about. The Thing. Keep watching the skies. Hunt or be hunted. And that was our Aliens Genocide portion. I'll listen to a little bit more Genocide during the week so I can wrap this up and put a pretty bow on it. But, God, I highly recommend this. You know, because, like, you're at the middle of the story and you're surrounded by these creatures. That's the scary part. You know, they don't need to have horror elements to make a good alien movie. You can make Aliens into somewhat of a horror action franchise. Whatever happened to the action? Everyone's trying to do horror. That's why Romulus wasn't really all that good. Worth a movie ticket, but I'm not going to spend the $60 to buy the VHS of Aliens Romulus because I have nothing to play it on. So they should have done a DVD. You know, maybe put it in a pack with other alien stuff and give us a poster or something. And that's one thing that you lose with physical media not being around anymore is what do you call it? One thing that you lose is the ability to merchandise a little bit and the ability to market and everything. So you know, I wonder how much the NECA Queen costs. NECA made some really awesome, what do you call it, toys for this. Let's go shopping. Shoppingu, kaimono, saru. Let's see. Oh God, they want $500. I forgot these were a limited run. Oh, look at that. There's a Vasquez, a Kenner Vasquez. I didn't know they made one of Vasquez at all. I gotta see this. to... We'll have to go back. You have to back out of shopping. That'd be a cool one. Yeah, that's badass. I'm gonna get my ass out of the way real quick. That's badass. I'd look for that. That's I gotta decorate the upstairs, and maybe I'll put in a glass case, and I'll have a couple of toys. This one would definitely go in it. That's badass. I like that. Everybody liked Vasquez. You know, they did movies right back then. Okay, you have, like, you look at what James Cameron did. And I'm not a huge James Cameron fan so much anymore, but you look at what he did, and he says, I'm going to have X amount of horror elements, like that dream Ripley has, and she like lifts up her shirt, and that chest buster's coming out just right where her sternum is, and you see it, and then she wakes up. Good horror right there. Really good. Bread and butter horror element right there. Then they get into the hive. It's scary for like a moment, and then you hear these xenomorphs start to die. Oh, they're easy to kill. You can kill these things. They're not invincible. And then you have action, and then the queen comes out, and you have that other horror element. They're not trying to do that anymore. They're just trying to copy Alien. That's it. Now, Romulus did have some good action elements into it, which is like, which made it less terrible, but they won't get away from the female lead at all in any of the Alien shit that they do. I want to hear the story of Daniel Grant more than this Aliens Earth bullshit, you know. Daniel Grant seems interesting. I got to do for Neo Farm. Let's see here. That goes here. I just got to get these guys stowed away real quick. Anyway, let's go up to comments real quick. Oh, God, we got a lot of them here. Hey, what up, Cud? How are you? No, I don't have a Hulu account. I did not see Predator. Is it any good? It might be good. I just don't like the animation character. I don't like the character concept design at all. Like I said, it looked like one of the Predator literally looked like one of the overlords from Howard the Duck. You can buy the pulse rifle. Hold on, let's I am going to buy that Vasquez. That Vasquez is awesome, by the way. I mean, that's just, her shirt was green in the movie, but I don't mind this. This is probably one you can get on eBay. Let's see. We'll do a little window shopping. Everybody likes it when I window shop for some reason. And yes, for some of you watching, yeah, I was looking at Buffy DVD sets. I enjoyed the Scooby Gang back in the day. That when I had one of my first jobs, I had to, like, my call time to come in every day was 11, and there was nothing to do after I was done waking up and working out except watch Buffy for an hour before I go to work. It was the worst job ever. 45 bucks, not bad. And that's the one I want right there with the pulse rifle. Yeah, it's got the pulse rifle. Hell yeah. But then if I take it out of the box, it won't be a collectible anymore. Somebody else asked me, what's your obsession with the comic book store guy? Isn't it obvious? That's like every millennial male has turned into him, because it's not like we can buy houses. I mean, boomers aren't going to relinquish their grip on suburban America anytime soon. Like, they'll get a call from their realtor. And you got to remember, boomers are like 85 years old, riddled with 4 cancers, taking 17 pills a day to stay alive. Okay? And they get a call from the real estate agent, and they go, absolutely not. I will not take anything less than $1.9 million. Click, and they just hang up. There you go. That's why nobody can afford a house. That's why a lot of guys my age aren't married, or if we have been married, we're divorced, paying child support, because we didn't learn any lessons from these boomer overlords that thought I just wasn't happy with the way that she was filleting me at the end of sex. She didn't do it right. I had to get someone else. Okay? Somebody else had to take that load the right way because I didn't like her face after I was done with her. I just wasn't happy. That could be the dad or the woman. Oh, I just wasn't happy because we didn't buy the blue house next to the pier. Okay. That's my boomer rant right there. Absolutely not. Let's go into the paint section and we'll chill for a bit here. Oh, God, absolutely not. Now my mouth's all dry. I almost didn't do a stream today because I've been editing footage and talking. Playing games, talking. You know, like from basically 11 a.m. all the way up till like 5. And I had to do like 4 takes of that first video that came out. What's up, Raven Wing? How are you doing? It's woke shit. Everything is woke shit. Disney started this woke shit back in the 90s. They started all of this like Republicans bad. Everything has to be woke back. Like, okay, you see it in the 90s. If you ever watch Tammy and the T-Rex, the hot chick has a gay friend. He's funny. He's hilarious as shit. But you know, I mean, everything is like, yeah, they started this shit back in the 90s, and they're never gonna let it go. And they wonder why Democrats lose ground politically because they won't let the faggot shit go. I got to get a bigger one of these, so that's something I'm going to put on my list to do because I've got to buy more wash. Get that. Get that. Grex. We got the backup. Put him here. Get that. One last thing I gotta Google here. Sorry, gentlemen. I keep forgetting that P3 re-released their paints. Steamforged Games. Give me 1 second, gentlemen. Good paint is good paint. You notice I use a little bit of everything. I am done with Citadel paints in my fucking airbrush. I used the green last time, and it caused a clog of monumental proportions. Oh, you can only get the starter color box, starter box here. What do we get? What do we get? What do we get? Oh, no Menoth White on the horizon just yet. Back to Google. I'm gonna see. Oh, you piece of shit. Did I spell that right? Menoth. Yes. Oh, they do make it. Maybe. I'll just click this link. Hold on. On Mr. Muffin's trains. Well, it literally looks like Menoth White, but this site looks shady as all hell. Just saying. All right. Okay. How long have we been going here? Let's do some of this. Where was I on these guys? Yeah. Teeth and claws and skin touch-up. We'll start with our homeboy's skin right here. We'll start with his skin. He needs to be touched up on the skin. And we got some fine details to do. What the hell am I doing? I got one of my grabbers here. Hell yeah. I got more control now. One of my ghetto grabbers. It's got some laterals and biceps and trapezius muscles. Reason we got the detail brush out is because we're going to be working real close. Right now, this year though, I have better things to spend my money on. I've got to make sure I've got a healthy war chest for when I go to Japan. I'm still dreading the trip. I'm dreading this trip. I do not travel well, but it's like I'm at the age where I need to see the world a little bit and do some things. I don't think I'll hit up Europe anytime soon. It might just be multiple trips to this one country, but the flight scares me. I don't know how to deal with that. Booking a hotel, not so bad, just a mild inconvenience. And then the other problem I have is getting back to the plane on time to get out of the country. Oh, glad to hear you're getting some overtime. Doom 3 is the shit. That's the only reason I kept my Xbox 360. Don't say that. God, like that's like a flying over the ocean is like a thought in my head. You know, I know it's safe, but at the same time, I don't trust Boeing anymore as a company at all. Like, fuck you, Boeing. Like, I kind of want to fly on the plane that's been engineered in Qatar. Kind of want to fly on the plane that's been engineered in Qatar. Got them biceps. It's a weird angle. I'm going to have to get in on this for the chin here. Actually, don't mind layering this stuff up at all. It gets real quiet when I start painting. I'm using all of my mental focus. Here's what I don't get about like chicks like that Alex girl who's got her like stupid wargaming channel. You do realize that you're not even making $1,000 a video, right? You do realize that. In order to make $1,000 a video on YouTube, you need to have 500,000 views, or at least that's what Google says. But I believe Google, 500,000 views, and to make any money at all, those 500,000 views have to be within like the first week. So, like, what's your end game? Pay piggies? Is that your end game? Just getting more pay piggies? Like, you can't think of anything good to do? You couldn't... I mean, women get free infinite money to go to college through Pell Grant. And you notice how we have a nursing shortage. Oh, but nursing's hard. I might have to work overtime. I want to major in early childhood development so I can help with the children's. Then I want to marry a 6-foot Christian Grey with ripped abs, and he'd better vote Democrat. And give all his money away to charity when I tell him to. It's like... Where have all the good men gone? Okay, so he's ready for teeth. Hate touching up the skin. I can actually use a bigger brush on this in most cases. We'll just do his hands real quick. I think I had already started to touch this one up a little bit the other day. I was like, I can finish 6. No, I can't. I'll get him this week, though. I'll get him this week. Not to mention a nurse gets a lot of overtime. It says here, just a registered nurse coming out of college, make $42 an hour. That's some good Skrilla right there. It's called having a real. That's called having real wages for a real job. Always remember, teachers are paid so little because they're worth so little. Most of them are babysitters. We still had a functioning society. We can get the 6th grader to show the kindergartner for 1/10 the cost. That's how it used to be. The older kids took care of the younger kids while the adults worked. It's like I think one problem we have in this in most of the Western world, I think we do not have good child rearing practices. I mean, it literally used to be, you know, during the summer, as long as there was one 13-year-old at the house, the 10 and the 8-year-old were going to be okay. It wasn't the end of the world. Your kids were going to be okay. Call them at lunch, see if they're okay, move on. Now it's like, I don't know if it's still like that, but like it's usually how it used to be. The older ones helped out with the younger ones. You watch Elizabeth Shue in Adventures of Babysitting. I mean, I think she was 17 going on 18, and she was literally ready to enter adult's world. She had a car, she had a checking account, she had some job prospects, was thinking about going to school, not quite sure, really wanted to meet a man, but she was ready to enter adult. She acted like she was 25 for her age and was more ready. Like now it's like you go to college and it's just basically extended adult daycare. I actually hate using the fine detail brush, but I'm going to get all the ins and outs and deal with you're in the clean up your lines portion of the miniature. Now you get the men off that whiteout and you go for tooth and bone. And even then I still miss little details here and there. Like this guy's little fight shield here. That should be enough. No airbrush today. I already did all the airbrushing I was gonna do this week. I'm not indifferent. I just there's on this one thing I was told by my friend, don't spray on your metallics. Those you got to brush on most of the time. But when I get some more time, I'm going to start painting this batch of 15, and I did use the camouflage. I do like where this is going. I just have to get a lighter shade of green that won't clog up my airbrush. Then how am I supposed to stay buff? If I give up boxing, how am I gonna stay in shape? I become addicted to it. I become addicted to it. How am I going to get buff if I give up boxing? I don't think I have any head trauma. I do take some shots though. Some of those younger guys, they'll hit you. It's okay once in a while, I guess. Yeah, good. I have noticed that, Cornite. It's the corpo jobs. Like, okay, so we have these things called safety bosses that they're basically glorified snitches. They don't do anything. Like one guy, massive gut. Like this guy's a slob. I have no respect for the man and his like 48% body fat or whatever it is. And they are basically adult babysitters. That's it. They are condescending snitches. They are paid probably 80 to 90K a year to be condescending snitches for the company. And that's what it is. That's like I said, when you like, let's say you work in a warehouse. If you're young and you're working in a warehouse, I will not work in a warehouse for anything more than 3 years. If you're 19 working at FedEx, you need to find a way out by the time you're 22. You need to find a way out by the time you're 22. You do not want to work in that corporate structure for very long because there's no way for you to get ahead. Like you're talking about 1% of the people might move up the chain of command. Everybody else, they want you you're basically there to do the bare minimum job that is in your description. Okay, and if you go outside of that description, go above and beyond, then you stand out. You become problematic. They have it structured in such a way that it's basically you graduate and you go into a structured job where if you step off the beaten path of the yellow line anywhere along the way, you get reprimanded for it. School is not there to educate people anymore. It's there to create drones that become obedient workers. Obedient workers is it. That's it. You gotta follow instructions. You gotta do all that bullshit. No. This is like when you had a good idea and you brought it to your boss. The good idea would never be implemented. He'd be like, "Good idea. That just goes right into the trash. There we go. Get back to work before I get a Mexican to take your job, because I only have to pay them $9, please." That was what it's like working with boomers. I only have to pay them $9. You should just be happy with 12. You're working over, and you know, God, I wish I had a little bit more knowledge back then. You know, there's so many times where I'd put in like a 50-hour work week and they would cut overtime away from me. Like they would literally take overtime away from you and just give you straight pay. Like the bullshit that you have to go through. And when you're young, you don't know any better. I didn't know that was going on, but like I would look at my check and be like, this is all I made? Really? Like I had that shit from the grocery store. I worked 48 hours one time, but because I was part-time, they took those 8 hours away from me and just gave me straight pay. Like there's so many bullshit laws that they've got on the books to help companies skirt having to pay what they owe. Obedient workers that won't backsass you. We don't want any innovate. It's like you'll be punished if you innovate. You won't be promoted. You won't be rewarded. You'll be punished for it. That's the society we live in. I mean, you got to think about how dystopian. I mean, construction is one of the last places where you can just go to work and actually just work a job with no bullshit. And even now it's becoming, you have corporatists trying to stick their fingers in shit. Like I talked about the chick at my company who gets to be a load planner for who picks up the cargo. Why can't I have that job? I've earned it, haven't I? No, 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 no. We got to pay her the $90K a year to fuck up. Because she's somebody's wife and, you know, this is Utah. Are you worried about me legitimately about the boxing thing core night? I'm gonna end up like Apollo Creed. There ain't no easy way out, and then you're gonna have to learn and avenge the kid who killed me. Kill the kid who killed me in the ring. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure she's an expert at that. You know, that's another problem in the workplace. You have to promote women at the expense of men. Women are always given preferential treatment at the expense of men. I remember when one day on shift, I found out I saw the payroll at the grocery store when I was like 17. And I kind of took that out to the break room, gathered up a couple of the boys. We brought them in back. I'm like, they're paying all the chicks. They're paying all the chicks $2 to $3 more than us. And here we are all at like $6.50 and $7 an hour. And all the chicks were like making 10. And I got in trouble. We threw that back in the face of the bosses. Like I threw the book at them and walked out, and they all walked out with me. That was an interesting day. To have your bag boys and stalkers all walk out at the same time during peak hours. That was hilarious. That douchebag called my parents. They always have the locked room. I got into the locked room one time. And I remember I lost my job, my first job. I was like, what? Fired from the grocery? When I went in to get my last paycheck, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, what? I've been fired from the grocery store? What will I do? Oh my God. And I was like, say la vie, Marco. I'm sure I'll find a way to survive. I used to say I mowed lawns that summer for my cousin. That was back when white people still did landscaping. They do it now. It's just, as a matter of fact, here's the weird thing is the white people have started to come back in the landscaping, and they're doing a better job than the Hispanics. They're giving the Hispanics a run for their money. The only thing you can't do is undercut the Hispanics on labor. I mean, I'm all for working long hours and everything, you know. I mean, I don't mind a 10-hour shift, but some of those landscapers, they'll go from like, they'll get to their first job by 7 or 7:30. I think 7:30 you're allowed to fire up the, I think it's 7:30 you're in some of the neighborhoods. You're allowed to fire up the lawnmowers and get the string trimmers going, and then they'll go till like 7. It's a long, those are long days. Those are really long days. And they're doing that 6 days a week. About the only day you're taking off is Sunday, which isn't bad. My biggest beef back then was the minimum wage. Literally, what it was bullshit. Because as a boy, you had to pay more for your insurance. I was paying $150 a month car insurance. And when I had a part-time job at the grocery store, I don't even think a weekend covered it. Barely covered it. I'm $2 short, basically. $2 short. Working 4 hours on Thursday, 4 hours on Friday, 8 hours on Saturday. Oh, and then I forgot a day. It's 18. Oh, that's pathetic. And then you'd have to pay taxes on that money. You lose $38 right there. $38.56 out of that. You're getting 109 after taxes. You're getting like 109.76 for your fucking paycheck. Yeah, you had to pay your taxes back then. I can understand if the taxes did something for me, like opened up a penny saver account for my retirement, like they do in Singapore. No, my taxes were directly taken, given to the girl who could get endless Pell Grant. And then take out a student loan to buy a nice car, a nicer car than I could ever dream of. That's one way you separate. That's one way you separate the sexes right there, is you make men who just graduate high school literally invisible by lowering their status with like zero job prospects from when they graduate. Now, you know, I mean, the way I would argue it is you could start giving job training out. You could start teaching a boy 14 years old how to drive a semi. About 14. Then by the time he's graduated, he's got countless hours under his belt in terms of like driving that semi and everything. They're really going to be trying to push these driverless trucks. I don't see it. They might only be able to do specific runs. I mean, I want to see one of those stupid things come down Parley's Canyon in the winter fully loaded. Let's see that. Get one of your test trucks out there right now. Let it go down Parley's fully loaded. Fully loaded, middle of a snowstorm. Here's the other thing. If it's a snowstorm, who's going to put the fucking chains on the tires when chains and four-wheel drive are required to go up Parley's? Are you never just going to use them in the mountains ever? I want to see that. Oh, no one's going to put... It's a driverless truck. Nobody's going to put the chains on it. to go up Parley's. It's just going to, what do you call it, jackknife all the way down the canyon and cause countless amounts of death. I want to see it. Put it in adverse weather conditions. Let it go up the Sisters in the middle of Wyoming during a snowstorm. Or during shit weather, during sub-zero temperatures. Let it go up that. Let it do the Sisters in Wyoming. Let it come back from a Boise turnaround, where they put nothing but brine on the roads because those spuds up there in Idaho are too cheap to buy our fucking salt. Oh, God damn it. It's no longer my detail brush. It's another dry brush now. Oh, well. Where are we at here? No, yeah, they had, you know, when I started work, when I was like I said, I started working when I was 17 years old. You had some of the shittiest conditions imaginable when it came to wages for boys, literally at that grocery store. All the fucking cashiers that went to my high school were making like 10, 13 bucks an hour. They were making out like bandits. Let's see here. And that money, that's $300 a week if she's working 24 hours a week, which is like, you know, you work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You know, you pick up the shifts that you can that they'll give you. That's $312 a week, and women aren't taxed at the same rate men are. At least I believe. I've always been taxed at 20. I lose 20% of my check to taxes. I believe women only lose like 18. I think that's how it works. I'd have to ask my accountant friend Bo to see if women are taxed at the same rate. I think if you have an axe gash, you're only paying 18. Somebody in the audience might know. $56.16. So every 2 weeks, this bitch is coming out with just working 24 hours a week is just coming out with about $511, and she's not paying $150 a month in car insurance. Oh yeah, I put the finger. I have a book of grudges. If Civil War ever clacks off, there's some boomers I'm going to eliminate. No bullshit. There are some boomers that I'm going to go after if Civil War ever clacks off. I've got a revenge booklet because I feel that I was wronged by some people. Because, you know, I mean, countries in civil war. What's, you know, I mean, other than being shot in a petty act of larceny, I've got nothing to live for except my own revenge. Revenge. Anyway, we clean up his flesh. All we got to do is teeth. We got to get that paint on them teethuses. At least I'll get 3 of them done today. Maybe. Tee-hee-hee-hee. And then you have to remember that this was the late 90s, early 2000s, and you know, you're coming into like the Bush years and recession and everything, and like the only thing Bill Clinton ever did was allow us to keep more of the money that we get from selling our houses, and he was president during the dot-com bubble, and that dot-com, and you had stocks going up that produced absolutely nothing. It's like today. It's just like a mirror of today. You got companies that produce absolutely jack shit, and their numbers are always going up. And then the bubble burst, and you're like, do you see? The Republicans don't know what they're doing. Dur, dur. They've been crying that one forever. So, you know, the stock market's only good when Democrats are in charge. I really hope that communist gets elected in New York. And then they get the government-owned grocery stores that serve nothing but bugs because, you know, that's probably all the city can afford. We'll see. I don't have a. I don't really. I think that the Democrats might only break even in the midterms because they won't let this. They won't let that transgender shit in schools go. They won't let it go. A good turn of events happened this week was the lower courts, the circuit courts, they can no longer injunct Trump on his agenda. That got overturned. So they can no longer obstruct him from pulling forth his agenda. So some of these Doge cuts are actually going to go through. You know, maybe Elon might come back into the picture, but irreparable harm was done by a bunch of rhino cons to Elon. I mean, it's like he gazed upon the face of the monster and he went insane. So there might be some Doge cuts coming in the pipeline. I don't know. Tooth and bone. Tooth and nail, as I call it. All right. We'll do his tooth and nail later. We'll get him ready. That way I can just trash 3 of them. Get my number up to 18. I think I had some on-point camera angles for painting today. I fucking hate lining. You know, just before you apply your washes, you know, that's the most annoying thing. Got to keep it clean. There we go. 2 in the box, ready to go. Got that and that. Anyway, we're getting to about that time. Corey Runyon. It's all been downhill since we removed the property qualification to vote. Yes, that's another thing. Like I said, I've been seeing more videos on Instagram of people crying because their EBT won't buy them their hair appointments anymore. We need to go back to a tax-based voter system. That is true. If you don't own a house or make over, I'm going to say $60,000 a year now. If you don't make over 60,000, I know that's a big step, but like if you don't make over 60,000 a year now, you can't vote. You can't vote. You need to have skin in the game, you know. It's just egalitarian communism. Exactly. That's what it is. And, you know, that's why they opened the borders. They opened the borders to make sure that even when people leave California, they do not lose congressional seats. And I think Trump has to do something to shut that shit down. Like, you got to pass a law saying non-citizens will no longer be counted on the census. And if they lose that's another thing. They keep electoral votes. New York has 19, 20 electoral votes. They're going to lose electoral votes if they don't keep the migrants in there. That's why California is so important, because if, let's say Trump actually got 1 million people out of California and they bled down to about 45 electoral votes, and New York went down to about 13 electoral votes. And still knock on wood to this day that Kamala isn't president, because all of our swing states would have become blue states. Every swing state that Trump won would have become a blue state. I got a lot of people who live up in New York. Yeah, New York is going the way of the dodo. It's never coming back. The people there, most of the ones in the city proper, probably migrant. I mean, there was a time, back during the days of Ghostbusters, where New York was the place. It's not that place anymore, and it hasn't been that place in about 30 years. It has not been that place in 30 years. Anyway, that's about it for me today. Don't forget to check out the battle report on Rumble for the Night Goblins vs. Wood Elves video. Let me bring the house lights up. Turn that off. Yeah, don't... Oh, you piece of shit. Anyway, don't forget to check out that. That's going to be on Rumble. I'll put the Night Goblins vs. Wood Elves video up in the middle of the week. I will get better versed on the rules changes. If somebody wants to just read the rules for me and put it on MP3 and send it to me via Google Drive, that would be really helpful. That way I can listen to it again and again. I wish they'd put these... if they're going to make rule books this complicated for 30K and Old World... put it on an audio file, Games Workshop. Just let it go. Let it fucking go. Put it, you get an audio file when you buy the physical copy. Oh, you redeem your code and you can listen to it at your leisure. Goddamn, that Speechify is expensive. I have not picked that up. I was actually going to use it to help me learn more systems and retain the information, because it's like, okay, I only have a set amount of time to sit down and read rules. A lot of my reading time is set aside for me drilling down vocabulary in Japanese and reading Mina Nihongo. That's one of the books that I use, and Japanese from Zero. I really drill my vocabulary there. I review the lessons and I put a hash mark every time. I've got some of these lessons that have been reviewed 2, 3 times, 5 times. They have a vocabulary sheet, and just drilling the vocabulary into my head, getting the verbs into my head. So, I'm already losing 25 to 45 minutes just doing that every day. So when I do get time to sit down to read, that's with my sparest of time, so it's like, just let it go, State-owned grocery stores. Yes, that's another thing. So, check out that battle report. That's going to be on Rumble. I see that there's no algorithmic difference. You can just download as many videos as you want on Rumble. That's one good thing, where it's like, I've got to let this video that I just released soak on YouTube. Get my, let me see what we're up to here. Let me see what we're up to. Ah! It's her old, dead, inhuman face. No. Oh, videos for me. So what are we up to? We're at 105 views with... Oh, we got 22 likes. Hopefully we can get 30 likes on that one on YouTube. That's the hard part, is breaking 30. Anything that I put out, the hardest thing of all is breaking 30 likes. nowadays. See, do I have any unanswered comments? No, we're down -10 in the last -10 subs in the last 28 days. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, okay, so if I answer this comment, it will give me an extra like. I have to answer to tell you how cucked YouTube is. I have to answer the comments sometimes just to reclaim the like that they took away from me when someone left a comment. That's how fucked up the algorithm is on YouTube. There's that. And then special shout out to D6 Wounds. Thanks for making the video. That link is in the description below. If you need to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with me on Instagram. Instagram DMs are the best way to talk to me during the week. And if you have any show plots or show ideas, let me know. I still got to sit down and write a show again. It's like, but I did some editing for once. I got to get out from under my pile of shame. Once my first initial push of War Master Bretonnians are out of the way, I've got to start building tanks. It never ends. I never knew that the Return of Fantasy would kill my video content creation to almost jack shit. You know, there you go. Most people who do this either have no job, or it is their job, or they have a group of people helping them. So, you know, you do what you can when you're just a one-man army that has to work at least 50 hours a week. So that's it. I want to say thank you for everyone coming out. Don't forget to check this video out on Rumble and share the Rumble link. That helps out too. Don't forget to leave a comment and a like over on Rumble. And we'll see you in the next one. Keep painting, keep playing, keep learning your FAQs. Stay metal, my friends. Emoji time. And we will probably see you Thursday. Might actually do, last note, we might actually do a longer movie Thursday because I believe Friday is the 4th of July. So if we have that coming out, we can definitely do that if I don't spar on Thursday. If Asian Chad, if I can skirt underneath his radar and Asian Chad doesn't call me, yeah, I can definitely do a longer live stream and pick an actual movie. It might be a John Wayne movie on Thursday. So check me out then.